The world has been waiting for this moment. The story that began with hope, miracles, and light now reaches the darkest night. The Chosen Season 6 will bring to life the crucifixion, the turning point of history. The pain, the sacrifice, the love beyond measure. This is not just another season. This is the moment everything changes. The screen fades from black. A faint sound of a heartbeat echoes, slow and heavy, as if counting down to something inevitable. Then, the soft glow of a torch flickers in the night. The voiceover begins with a solemn tone. For 5 seasons we have followed his journey. We have walked beside him through miracles, teachings, and moments that shaped the hearts of many. We saw water turn into wine, the lame walk, and the blind open their eyes. We felt the power of his words, his compassion for the poor, and his mercy for the broken. But now, his path leads to a hill outside Jerusalem, where the greatest act of love will be revealed. The visuals remain faceless and symbolic. A close-up of hands trembling, holding a piece of rope. Soldiers' feet walking across stone streets. A glimpse of shadows moving in torchlight. The audience feels the weight of betrayal, the silence before the storm. The voice grows stronger. This season will not shy away from pain. The cross, the thorns, the nails, they are not just symbols. They are the price of salvation. And as the world watches him suffer, we are reminded, this is not the end. It is the beginning of everything. The heartbeat fades, replaced by the distant sound of hammering wood. A cross is lifted in silhouette against a storm-dark sky. The screen cuts to black with only one word glowing in bold letters. Chosen. The narrator pauses, then delivers the line with weight. The Chosen Season 6. The crucifixion is coming. The screen opens with the sound of distant thunder. A slow roll of dark clouds covers the sky. The camera lingers on a crown of thorns lying on a stone floor, its sharp edges catching the dim light. Dust blows across the ground, as if the earth itself is waiting for what is about to happen. The narrator's voice enters, calm but heavy with meaning. This is the moment the disciples feared. The teacher they loved, the friend they followed, is now a prisoner. The city that once welcomed him with cheers now shouts with anger. Palm branches have been replaced by whips. Celebration has turned into condemnation. Faceless figures move in shadow. Soldiers dragging chains. A crowd gathered in silence. A torch falling to the ground. The screen flashes with glimpses of fear. A woman weeping into her hands. A man hiding his face in the dark. In this season, every choice carries weight. The betrayal for silver, the silence of friends, the pressure of leaders, and the cries of the crowd. All of it leads to one place, one cross, one sacrifice, one story that will never be forgotten. The music rises, strings trembling with sorrow. A pair of hands wash in a bowl of water, symbolizing Pilate's refusal to take blame. A wooden beam is dropped to the ground with a dull, shaking thud. The sound echoes as if it might never end. Season 6 takes us where no words are enough. Every nail struck, every cry from the cross, every drop of blood. It speaks louder than anything else. It speaks of love, a love that refuses to quit, even when surrounded by hate. This is not just history. This is the reason hope still lives. The imagery grows darker. The shadow of a cross stretching across the ground, lightning splitting the sky, and the faint cry of a child in the distance. The voice softens to a whisper. The Chosen Season 6 will not simply show the crucifixion. It will draw us into the heart of it, into the cost, into the pain, and into the love that holds the world together. The screen fades again to black, leaving only the sound of wind. Then the faint words appear in white. It is coming. The sound of silence fills the screen. No music, no voices, just an empty hush. Then slowly, the image of a torn piece of cloth appears, swaying in the wind, hanging by a single thread. The stillness is broken by the deep toll of a bell, echoing like grief across the world. The narrator speaks with a low, steady voice. When the cross was raised, the world changed. The sky darkened, the earth shook, and those who followed him were shattered. Every dream, every hope they carried seemed lost in a single moment. A faceless silhouette sits in shadow, shoulders trembling, hands clutching sand that slips through their fingers. Another pair of hands lift a broken loaf of bread but cannot eat. A water jar tips over, spilling across stone, symbolizing emptiness. The disciples scattered. Some hid in fear, some wept in silence, and some wondered if the years they had given were wasted. They remembered his words, but the weight of sorrow drowned out the promise of hope. The screen flickers to storm clouds rolling, lightning striking across the hills. Then, a curtain inside the temple rips from top to bottom, faceless priests turning in shock. Dust fills the air as the ground trembles beneath them. The voice rises with emotion. But this was not chaos. This was not defeat. Even in the darkest hour, heaven was speaking. The veil was torn, the earth was crying out, and the sacrifice was complete. What looked like the end was the beginning of redemption. The visuals quicken. A Roman soldier dropping his spear, his shadow falling to his knees, a mother clutching her child as the sky grows black, a group of disciples huddled in fear, light flickering from a single lamp. Season 6 will show more than pain. It will reveal the silence after the storm, the grief before the dawn, and the faith that survives when everything else is taken away. The screen goes dark again. Only the faint sound of a heartbeat returns. Softer now, like a reminder of something still alive. Slowly, words appear in glowing light. This is not the end. The screen begins in darkness again. For a moment, nothing is heard but the faint whisper of wind. Then a single candle lights up the frame, its flame trembling but refusing to die. The narrator's voice returns, softer than before. In the silence of grief, in the shadow of the cross, a promise still lingers. The story is not over. The pain of crucifixion is real, but so is the hope of what comes next. The camera shifts to faceless figures. A woman holding a folded burial cloth, men lowering a wooden cross, and a small group walking into a tomb with heavy steps. The silence deepens. Then the screen lingers on a sealed stone door. The music grows. Not triumphant, but steady, like something waiting to rise. Season 6 will take us to the moment where history bends, to the trial, the crucifixion, and the breaking of hearts. But it will also remind us, the darkest night prepares the way for the brightest morning. The visuals shift. Silhouettes of disciples gathering in silence. A faint sunrise beginning to crack through the horizon. Birds in the distance taking flight. Each image feels like the world leaning forward, holding its breath. The voice grows firm and clear. This is not just another chapter. This is the turning point of faith. The moment where death is defeated and love rewrites the world. And for the first time on screen, The Chosen will bring this to life in a way you have never seen before. Now, bold text fades in across the screen. The Chosen Season 6, coming soon. The narrator concludes with weight and urgency. Prepare your hearts. Share this story. Season 6 is on its way, and the crucifixion is only the beginning. The final shot is the candle from the beginning. The flame flickers once, almost going out, but then grows brighter, filling the screen with light. The screen cuts to black. On the black screen, the final words appear in white. The story continues. The screen fades in with the sound of footsteps on stone. Slow, deliberate, each step echoes as if carrying the weight of the world. A faceless figure carries a lantern through a dark passage, the flame casting long, trembling shadows on the walls. The narrator speaks with a low, steady rhythm. Every story has a climax. Every journey has a crossroad. For The Chosen, Season 6 is not just the climax of a season. It is the heart of the entire story. It is the place where heaven meets earth, where sorrow meets hope, where death meets life. The camera lingers on symbolic images. A crown of thorns resting on the ground, a broken loaf of bread abandoned on a table, a jar of oil overturned but still shining in the light. The silence is broken by the distant cry of a rooster, haunting and unforgettable. We will see betrayal with silver coins. We will hear the hammer strike the wood, We will feel the silence of friends who could not stay. And yet, in all of this, there is something greater, a thread that runs through every moment. The thread of love, unbreakable, unshaken, unstoppable. The screen fades in with the sound of footsteps on stone. Slow, deliberate, each step echoes as if carrying the weight of the world. A faceless figure carries a lantern through a dark passage, the flame casting long, trembling shadows on the walls. The narrator speaks with a low, steady rhythm. Every story has a climax. Every journey has a crossroad. For The Chosen, Season 6 is not just the climax of a season. It is the heart of the entire story. It is the place where heaven meets earth, where sorrow meets hope, where death meets life. The camera lingers on symbolic images, a crown of thorns resting on the ground, a broken loaf of bread abandoned on a table, a jar of oil overturned but still shining in the light. The silence is broken by the distant cry of a rooster, haunting and unforgettable. We will see betrayal with silver coins. We will hear the hammer strike the wood. We will feel the silence of friends who could not stay. And yet, in all of this, there is something greater, a thread that runs through every moment. The music swells, rising like a storm that refuses to be contained. Lightning flashes across the sky, illuminating the silhouette of 3 crosses on a hill. For a moment, everything is still. Then the screen trembles with the sound of thunder rolling over the earth. The voice grows more urgent. Season 6 will not leave you the same. It will not be entertainment. It will be an encounter with sacrifice, with truth, with the love that refused to turn away. The visuals quicken, a stone rolling, shadows of disciples running, a sunrise beginning to break over the horizon. Each image lasts only a second, like a heartbeat growing faster. The narrator whispers the final line, "The cross is not the end of the story. It is the door, and beyond it waits everything." The screen fades to black. Then a final message appears, bold and simple. The Chosen Season 6, coming soon. Are you ready? The screen begins with silence, total blackness. For several seconds, there is nothing but stillness, as if the world itself has stopped breathing. Then a faint sound emerges, the slow roll of a stone shifting against the ground. It is soft, almost unnoticed, but it carries power. The narrator's voice enters, gentle but filled with certainty. The story of The Chosen has always been about more than one moment. The cross was not defeat. It was a doorway, and on the other side of that doorway waits something no one expected. Something that will change everything. A faint light glows on screen, not sudden, but rising like a dawn breaking after endless night. The camera lingers on symbolic faceless visuals. A folded burial cloth resting where a body once lay, an empty jar of spices left behind, and a stone slowly rolling away from the entrance of a tomb. Season 6 will carry us into the deepest valley. The pain, the loss, the silence of unanswered prayers. But it will also carry us beyond it. For in the place where darkness thought it had won, light was already rising. The music begins soft, a single piano note repeating like a heartbeat. Then slowly builds as strings join, creating a sound of hope pushing through sorrow. The imagery shifts. Disciples walking in grief. Women approaching the tomb. Roman guards startled by something unseen. The voice grows stronger. This is not only the crucifixion, it is the turning of history, the breaking of chains, the first breath of a new creation. And The Chosen Season 6 will take us there, to the moment when the impossible becomes real. The screen brightens, the faint glow turning into a radiant burst of light that fills the frame. A silhouette of a stone rolling aside is seen for only a second before the screen cuts to black. The narrator whispers the final words. The cross was never the end. It was the beginning of forever. On the black screen, golden letters appear. The screen is still black. A single line of white text fades in. The story that changed the world is not finished. Soft music begins, a choir in the distance, faint but filled with light, slowly rising. The narrator's voice enters, steady, intimate, speaking as if to each viewer personally. For years, The Chosen has drawn us closer to his footsteps. Through miracles, through teachings, through laughter and tears. But Season 6 is different. This is the season of the cross, the season of sacrifice, the season where love is tested, crushed, and yet made eternal. Images flash, faceless silhouettes of disciples gathered in silence, a mother holding a cloth to her face, a Roman soldier staring at the ground, the shadow of a cross stretching across stone. Then the screen fades to the image of a faint sunrise breaking the darkness. But do not forget, the cross was not the end. It was the beginning. The pain was real. The sorrow was deep. Yet the hope was greater. And now, the world waits once more to see it unfold, to feel it, to live it. The music swells, now joined by drums, building like a heartbeat of destiny. The screen shows quick flashes, a sealed tomb, a stone shifting, disciples running, and light breaking through. The narrator's voice grows firm, commanding, yet tender. Season 6 of The Chosen will take you there, to the darkest hour, to the breaking of hearts, and to the rising of hope. It will not only tell a story, it will invite you to live it. The visuals end with bold text across the screen. The Chosen Season 6, trailer teaser, coming soon. The narrator delivers the final line in a whisper, the music fading into silence. Prepare your heart. Share the story. The journey continues. The screen cuts to black. One final word appears, glowing like light breaking through stone. Amen.